Your mind is being poisoned every single day, and you don't even realize it. Right now, as you listen to this, there are toxic thoughts, mental viruses, and psychological pollutants flowing through your consciousness, destroying your potential, limiting your success, and keeping you trapped in mediocrity. Most people spend more time cleaning their bodies than they do cleaning their minds. And that is why they stay stuck, frustrated, and mentally weak their entire lives. You shower every day, you brush your teeth, you wash your clothes. But when was the last time you actually detoxed your mind? When was the last time you consciously removed the mental garbage, the negative programming, the self-sabotaging beliefs that are running your life behind the scenes? The answer is probably never, and that is exactly why you are not where you want to be in life. Here is the brutal truth: your mind is not your friend. It has been contaminated by years of negative conditioning, toxic relationships, social media, poison, limiting beliefs from childhood, and the mental pollution of a society designed to keep you distracted, weak, and consuming. Every day you are being fed mental junk food thoughts that make you anxious, insecure, and mentally sluggish. And just like physical junk food, these mental toxins are slowly killing your potential from the inside out. But here is what 99% of people will never understand. You can detoxify your mind. You can cleanse your mental system, remove the psychological poison, and reprogram your consciousness for clarity, confidence, and unstoppable mental strength. This is not some mystical concept. This is a systematic scientific process that the most successful people in the world use to maintain peak mental performance. The difference between people who achieve extraordinary success and those who stay stuck is not talent, luck, or opportunity. It is the cleanliness of their mental environment. High performers have clean minds. They have removed the mental clutter, eliminated the psychological toxins, and created space for focused, powerful thinking. And by the end of this audiobook, you will know exactly how to do the same. Chapter 1. The Mental Pollution Crisis. Let me tell you something that will shock you. The average person has over 7,000,000 thoughts per day. And 95% of those thoughts are exactly the same as the thoughts they had yesterday. Even worse, 80% of those thoughts are negative. Think about that for a moment. Your mind is running the same mental programs over and over again, like a broken record stuck on the worst possible song, and you wonder why you feel stuck, anxious, and mentally exhausted. This is the mental pollution crisis that nobody is talking about. We are living in the most mentally toxic environment in human history. Your attention is being hijacked by social media platforms designed by neuroscientists to be addictive. Your thoughts are being influenced by news media that profits from keeping you angry and afraid. Your beliefs are being shaped by advertising that convinces you that you are not enough unless you buy their products. And the worst part is that most of this mental contamination is happening below the level of conscious awareness. You think you are choosing your thoughts, but in reality your thoughts are being programmed by external forces that do not have your best interests at heart. You are walking around with a polluted mind running toxic mental software and wondering why you cannot achieve the success and happiness you want. The neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza discovered that by age 3, 5% of who you are is a set of memorized behaviors, automatic emotional reactions, unconscious habits, and hardwired beliefs that function like a computer program. This means that 95% of your life is being run by mental programming that you acquired before you were even an adult. You are not living your life. You are running an outdated mental operating system filled with viruses, bugs, and malware. But here is what the ultra-successful understand. Mental pollution is not permanent. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity, which means it can be rewired, reshaped, and reprogrammed at any age. You can literally delete the mental viruses that are sabotaging your success and install new mental software that supports your goals. But this requires conscious, intentional effort. It requires a systematic approach to mental detoxification. The first step in detoxing your mind is recognizing the sources of mental pollution in your environment. Social media is mental fast food. It gives you quick hits of dopamine, but leaves you mentally malnourished, anxious, and addicted to external validation. News media is psychological warfare designed to keep you in a state of chronic stress and fear, because stressed, fearful people are easier to control and more likely to consume. Toxic relationships are another major source of mental contamination. Energy vampires who drain your mental resources with their negativity complaints and limiting beliefs. These people dump their psychological garbage into your mental space, and before you know it, you start thinking and feeling like them. You become who you spend time with, and if you are spending time with mentally polluted people, you will become mentally polluted yourself. Negative self-talk is perhaps the most devastating form of mental pollution because it comes from inside your own head. The average person engages in negative self-talk for 5 hours per day. They tell themselves they are not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. They replay past failures, predict future disasters, and create mental movies of everything that could go wrong. This constant stream of mental negativity is like drinking poison and expecting your enemies to die. Chapter 2. The 5 Toxic Mind Viruses. There are 5 specific mental viruses that infect 99% of people and destroy their potential from the inside out. These are not just negative thoughts, these are systematic patterns of thinking that operate like malware in your mental operating system. Once they take root, they spread throughout your consciousness, contaminating every aspect of your mental performance. If you do not identify and eliminate these viruses, they will sabotage your success for the rest of your life. Virus number 1 is the comparison virus. This is the mental program that constantly compares your life, your achievements, your appearance, your success to other people. Social media has made this virus particularly virulent because it provides an endless stream of other people's highlight reels to compare yourself against. You see someone's vacation photos and feel inadequate about your own life. You see someone's business success and feel like a failure. You see someone's relationship and feel lonely. But here is what the comparison virus does not want you to know. Comparison is the thief of joy and the killer of motivation. When you compare yourself to others, you are comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to their carefully curated public image. You are comparing your struggles to their victories, your rough draft to their final product. This is not just unfair, it is mentally devastating. The comparison virus convinces you that your worth is determined by how you stack up against other people. But your worth has nothing to do with other people. Your success has nothing to do with other people. Your happiness has nothing to do with other people. The moment you start measuring your life against someone else's life, you have already lost because you are playing a game that cannot be won. Virus number 2 is the perfectionism virus. This mental malware convinces you that anything less than perfect is not good enough. It makes you procrastinate because you are afraid of producing imperfect work. It makes you overthink because you are trying to eliminate all possible mistakes. It makes you paralyzed by the fear of failure, because failure means you are not perfect. But perfectionism is not about having high standards. Perfectionism is about fear. It is the fear of being judged, the fear of being criticized, the fear of not being good enough. Perfectionists do not produce better work. They produce less work because they are so afraid of imperfection that they often do not produce anything at all. They spend so much time polishing and tweaking and perfecting that they never actually ship their work into the world. The perfectionism virus has infected entire generations of people who were raised to believe that their worth was tied to their performance. These people learned that love and approval were conditional on being perfect. So they developed an obsession with avoiding mistakes. But mistakes are not the enemy of success. Mistakes are the pathway to success. Every successful person has failed more times than unsuccessful people have even tried. Virus number 3 is the victim virus. This is perhaps the most toxic mental program of all, because it convinces you that you have no power over your circumstances. The victim virus tells you that your problems are caused by other people, by the government, by the economy, by your upbringing, by discrimination, by bad luck. It makes you believe that you are powerless to change your situation, so you stop trying. The victim virus is seductive because it removes responsibility from your shoulders. It is easier to blame your problems on external factors than to take ownership of your life. But the victim virus comes with a terrible cost. When you give away responsibility, you also give away power. When you blame others for your problems, you also give them control over your solutions. People infected with the victim virus spend their entire lives waiting for someone else to fix their problems. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the right connections, the ideal circumstances. They wait and wait and wait, while their dreams slowly die, because they refuse to take personal responsibility for creating the life they want. Virus number 4 is the scarcity virus. This mental malware convinces you that there is not enough to go around. Not enough money, not enough opportunities, not enough success, not enough love. The scarcity virus makes you competitive with other people's success instead of inspired by it. It makes you hoard your knowledge, your connections, your opportunities, because you believe that sharing them will leave you with less. But scarcity is an illusion created by a polluted mind. The universe operates on abundance, not scarcity. There are infinite opportunities, infinite ways to create value, infinite ways to build wealth, infinite ways to find love and happiness. The only scarcity that exists is the scarcity you create in your own mind through limiting beliefs and toxic thinking patterns. People with abundant mindsets understand that success is not a zero-sum game. Someone else's success does not diminish your potential for success. Someone else's happiness does not steal your happiness. Someone else's wealth does not make you poorer. In fact, the opposite is true. Other people's success creates more opportunities for everyone, because success breeds success, and abundance creates more abundance. Virus number 5 is the instant gratification virus. This mental program demands immediate pleasure and immediate results. It cannot tolerate delayed gratification, discomfort, or the temporary pain that comes with growth. The instant gratification virus is why people eat junk food instead of healthy food, why they watch Netflix instead of reading books, why they scroll social media instead of working on their goals. This virus has been amplified by technology that gives us everything instantly. Instant food, instant entertainment, instant communication, instant shopping. Our brains have been rewired to expect immediate rewards, and when we do not get them, we feel frustrated, anxious, and unsatisfied. But everything worthwhile in life requires delayed gratification. Building a business takes years. Developing skills takes months. Creating meaningful relationships takes time. The instant gratification virus destroys your ability to do the hard work necessary for long-term success. It makes you quit when results do not come quickly. It makes you choose short-term pleasures over long-term benefits. It keeps you trapped in cycles of immediate reward, seeking that prevent you from building the life you actually want. Chapter 3. The Mental Detox Assessment. Before you can detox your mind, you need to honestly assess the current state of your mental environment. Most people are completely unconscious of the toxic thoughts, beliefs, and mental patterns that are running their lives. They operate on mental autopilot, never questioning whether their thoughts are helping or hurting them, never examining whether their beliefs are empowering or limiting, never evaluating whether their mental habits are moving them toward their goals or away from them. This mental unconsciousness is dangerous because you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. You cannot detox mental toxins that you do not recognize. You cannot eliminate limiting beliefs that you are not aware of. The first step in any transformation is brutal, honest self-awareness, and that is exactly what this assessment will give you. I want you to answer these questions with complete honesty. Do not answer with what you think you should say or what sounds good. Answer with what is actually true. Your ability to transform your mind depends on your willingness to see your current mental state clearly, without judgment or denial. Question number 1. What percentage of your thoughts each day are negative? Really think about this. Pay attention to your internal dialogue for the next hour and notice how much of it is worry, doubt, fear, criticism, judgment, or complaint. Most people are shocked to discover that 70 to 80% of their thoughts are negative. If this describes you, then your mind is severely polluted and in desperate need of detoxification. Question number 2. How much time do you spend consuming mental junk food? This includes social media, news, television, gossip, entertainment that does not educate or inspire you. Add up all the hours you spend each day consuming content that makes you feel worse about yourself or the world. Most people spend 4 to 6 hours per day consuming mental pollution and then wonder why they feel anxious, depressed, and mentally foggy. Question number 3. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Write down their names and then honestly evaluate their mental state. Are they positive or negative? Are they growing or stagnating? Are they pursuing their dreams or making excuses? Are they supportive of your goals, or do they try to bring you back down to their level? Remember, you become who you spend time with. So if you are spending time with mentally polluted people, you will become mentally polluted. Question number 4. What limiting beliefs do you have about yourself? What do you tell yourself about what you can or cannot do, what you deserve or do not deserve, what is possible or impossible for someone like you? Common limiting beliefs include: I am not smart enough. I am not talented enough. I do not have enough experience. I am too old. I am too young. I do not have enough money. I do not have the right connections. These beliefs are mental viruses that prevent you from even attempting to achieve your goals. Question number 5. How do you handle failure, setbacks, and criticism? Do you use them as learning opportunities, or do you use them as evidence that you should give up? Do you bounce back quickly, or do you ruminate on them for days, weeks, or months? Your response to adversity reveals the health of your mental immune system. Mentally strong people have developed immunity to the mental toxins of failure and criticism. Question number 6. What is your self-talk like? How do you speak to yourself in your own mind? Would you talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself? Most people are their own worst enemy, engaging in brutal self-criticism that they would never direct at another person. This negative self-talk is one of the most damaging forms of mental pollution because it comes from inside your own head. Question number 7. How often do you compare yourself to other people? Do you scroll through social media and feel inadequate? Do you see other people's success and feel jealous or threatened? Do you constantly measure your progress against other people's achievements? Comparison is mental poison that will destroy your self-esteem and motivation faster than almost anything else. Question number 8. Do you take personal responsibility for your life, or do you blame external circumstances for your problems? When something goes wrong, do you immediately look for someone or something else to blame? Do you make excuses for why you have not achieved your goals? Taking responsibility is empowering, while playing the victim is disempowering and mentally toxic. If you answered these questions honestly, you now have a clear picture of the current state of your mental environment. Most people will discover that their minds are polluted with negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, toxic relationships, and harmful mental habits. But do not despair, because awareness is the first step toward transformation, and now that you know what needs to be cleaned, you can begin the process of mental detoxification. Chapter 4. The 21-Day Mental Cleanse Protocol. Now that you understand the scope of mental pollution and have assessed your own mental contamination, it is time to begin the systematic process of detoxifying your mind. This is not a quick fix or a temporary solution. This is a comprehensive protocol that will clean out years of accumulated mental toxins and establish new patterns of thinking that support your success and well-being. The 21-Day Mental Cleanse Protocol is based on neuroscience research showing that it takes approximately 21 days of consistent practice to begin forming new neural pathways and breaking old mental habits. This protocol is divided into 3 phases each, lasting 7 days and each targeting different aspects of mental detoxification. Phase 1 is elimination. During the first 7 days, you will systematically remove the sources of mental pollution from your environment. This means eliminating or drastically reducing your exposure to social media news, toxic people, negative entertainment, and any other inputs that contaminate your mental space. Think of this as removing junk food from your diet before you start eating healthy food. Day 1 through 3 focus on digital detox. Delete social media apps from your phone, or, at minimum, log out and remove the shortcuts. Stop watching the news completely. Unsubscribe from email lists that fill your inbox with negativity or unnecessary information. Remove toxic people from your social media feeds. Replace mindless scrolling with mindful breathing meditation or reading. Day 4 through 7 focus on environmental detox. Clean and organize your physical space, because external chaos creates internal chaos. Remove clutter from your home and office. Create a calm, peaceful environment that supports clear thinking. Limit exposure to toxic people who drain your energy or fill your mind with negativity. This might mean setting boundaries with family members, co-workers, or friends who consistently bring drama or negativity into your life. Phase 2 is replacement. During the second 7 days, you will replace the mental junk food you eliminated with high-quality mental nutrition. You cannot just remove negative inputs, you must replace them with positive inputs that feed your mind the right kind of information and energy. Day 8 through 10. Focus on information replacement. Instead of consuming news, start reading books that educate and inspire you. Instead of scrolling social media, listen to podcasts that teach you valuable skills. Instead of watching mindless entertainment, watch documentaries or educational content that expands your knowledge. Replace mental junk food with mental superfoods. Day 11 through 14. Focus on relationship replacement. Start spending more time with people who inspire, challenge, and support you. Seek out mentors, coaches, or peers who are where you want to be in life. Join communities, groups, or organizations focused on growth and achievement. Reduce time with energy vampires and increase time with energy givers. Phase 3 is rewiring. During the final 7 days, you will actively rewire your brain with new thought patterns, beliefs, and mental habits that support your success. This is where you install the new mental software that will run your life going forward. Day 15 through 17. Focus on belief rewiring. Identify your limiting beliefs and systematically replace them with empowering beliefs. Write down evidence that contradicts your limiting beliefs. Create affirmations that reinforce your new empowering beliefs. Visualize yourself as the person you want to become. Practice thinking thoughts that support your goals rather than sabotage them. Day 18 through 21. Focus on habit rewiring. Establish daily mental hygiene practices that will keep your mind clean going forward. This includes morning meditation or mindfulness practice, gratitude journaling, positive self-talk, and evening reflection. These practices will become your mental immune system, protecting you from future contamination. Throughout all 21 days, you will practice the 4 pillars of mental detox. Pillar 1 is conscious awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts throughout the day. Notice when negative or toxic thoughts arise and consciously choose to redirect them. You cannot change unconscious patterns, so you must first make them conscious. Pillar 2 is intentional input. Become extremely selective about what you allow into your mind. Treat your mental space like a VIP room, where only the highest quality thoughts, ideas, and information are allowed entry. Guard your mental gates fiercely, because what goes in determines what comes out. Pillar 3 is active replacement. Do not just try to stop negative thinking. Actively replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Have a library of empowering thoughts, beliefs, and mantras ready to use when toxic thoughts arise. Nature abhors a vacuum, so you must fill the space left by removed mental toxins with healthy mental nutrients. Pillar 4 is consistent practice. Mental detox is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. Just like you shower your body every day, you must cleanse your mind every day. Develop daily rituals and habits that keep your mind clean, strong, and focused on what matters most. Chapter 5. Rewiring your mental operating system. After 21 days of mental detoxification, you will have removed most of the obvious mental toxins from your system. But true mental transformation requires going deeper than surface-level cleaning. You must rewire the fundamental operating system of your mind, the core programs that determine how you perceive reality, process information, and make decisions. Your mental operating system was programmed during the first 18 years of your life by your parents, teachers, peers, and culture. Most of these programs were installed without your conscious awareness or consent. You absorbed beliefs about yourself, about other people, about money, about success, about relationships, about what is possible and what is not possible. These beliefs became the invisible software running your life. The problem is that much of this early programming was based on limitation, fear, and scarcity. Children are taught to be careful, to avoid risks, to follow rules, to seek approval from others. While some of this programming serves a protective function, much of it becomes a limitation in adult life. What kept you safe as a child might keep you stuck as an adult. The neuroscientist Dr. Bruce Lipton discovered that 95% of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are controlled by subconscious programming installed before age 7. This means that most of your life is being run by the mental software of a child. No wonder so many adults feel stuck, frustrated, and unable to create the life they want. They are trying to run adult goals on childhood programming. But here is the revolutionary truth. You can rewrite your mental operating system. You can identify the limiting programs that are sabotaging your success and install new empowering programs that support your goals. This process is called neuroplasticity, and it is one of the most important discoveries in modern neuroscience. The first step in rewiring your mental operating system is identifying your core limiting beliefs. These are the fundamental assumptions about reality that shape how you see yourself and the world. Common limiting beliefs include: money is the root of all evil. Successful people are greedy. You have to work hard to make money. You cannot trust anyone. I am not smart enough. I am not worthy of success. I do not deserve happiness. To identify your limiting beliefs, pay attention to your automatic thoughts when you think about your goals. If you want to start a business, what thoughts immediately arise? If you want to ask for a promotion, what fears surface? If you want to pursue a relationship, what doubts appear? These automatic responses reveal your subconscious programming. Once you have identified your limiting beliefs, you can begin the process of rewriting them. The most effective method is called belief modification therapy, which involves systematically gathering evidence that contradicts your limiting belief while simultaneously installing a new empowering belief. For example, if your limiting belief is "I am not smart enough to be successful," you would gather evidence of times when you learned new skills, solved problems, or achieved goals that required intelligence. You would research successful people who do not have advanced degrees or who overcame learning challenges. You would look for proof that intelligence comes in many forms and that success depends more on persistence and effort than raw intelligence. Simultaneously, you would install a new empowering belief, such as "I have the intelligence and ability to achieve my goals." You would repeat this new belief daily. Visualize yourself demonstrating this intelligence and act in ways that are consistent with this belief. Over time, the new belief would become stronger than the old belief, and your behavior would change accordingly. The second step in mental rewiring is upgrading your mental models. Mental models are the frameworks you use to understand how the world works. If you have a scarcity mental model, you believe resources are limited and you must compete with others to get your share. If you have an abundance mental model, you believe resources are unlimited and you can create value that benefits everyone. Most people operate with outdated mental models that were appropriate for agricultural or industrial societies, but are counterproductive in the modern information economy. For example, the mental model that you trade time for money made sense in factory work, but limits your earning potential in knowledge work, where value is created through ideas and innovation. To upgrade your mental models, study how successful people in your field think about business, money, relationships, and success. Read biographies of high achievers and notice what mental models they use. Attend seminars, workshops, or courses that expose you to new ways of thinking. Surround yourself with people who have more empowering mental models than you currently have. The third step in mental rewiring is installing success habits at the identity level. Most people try to change their behavior without changing their identity, and this is why most behavior change fails. If you see yourself as someone who is lazy, undisciplined, or unsuccessful, you will unconsciously sabotage any efforts to act differently. Instead of trying to force new behaviors, focus on becoming the type of person who naturally engages in those behaviors. If you want to exercise regularly, become someone who values health and fitness. If you want to build wealth, become someone who thinks like an investor. If you want better relationships, become someone who prioritizes connection and communication. This identity-level change happens through consistent small actions that reinforce your new identity. Every time you act in accordance with your desired identity, you strengthen that identity. Every time you act against your desired identity, you weaken it. Focus on small wins that prove to yourself that you are becoming the person you want to be. The fourth step in mental rewiring is developing mental immunity. Just as your body has an immune system that protects against physical toxins, your mind needs an immune system that protects against mental toxins. This mental immune system is built through practices that strengthen your psychological resilience and resistance to negative influences. Meditation builds mental immunity by training your ability to observe thoughts without being controlled by them. Regular meditation practice creates space between you and your thoughts, so you can choose which thoughts to engage with and which to dismiss. This is crucial for maintaining mental clarity in a world full of mental pollution. Gratitude practice builds mental immunity by training your brain to focus on what is working rather than what is not working. Grateful people are more optimistic, more resilient, and more satisfied with their lives. They have developed immunity to the mental virus of chronic complaining and dissatisfaction. Physical exercise builds mental immunity by reducing stress hormones, increasing endorphins, and improving overall brain function. People who exercise regularly have better mood, better focus, and better ability to handle mental and emotional stress. Exercise is literally medicine for the mind. The final step in mental rewiring is creating mental firewall systems that protect your newly cleaned and upgraded mind from recontamination. This means establishing boundaries around what information, people, and experiences you allow into your mental space. It means developing the ability to say no to mental junk food, even when it is socially expected or emotionally appealing. Chapter 6. The Psychology of Mental Strength. Mental strength is not something you are born with. It is not a genetic gift reserved for a select few. Mental strength is a skill that can be developed, trained, and strengthened just like any muscle in your body. But most people misunderstand what mental strength actually is. They think it means being emotionally numb or suppressing difficult feelings. They think it means never experiencing fear, doubt, or uncertainty. This is completely wrong. Mental strength is not the absence of difficult emotions. Mental strength is the ability to feel difficult emotions without being controlled by them. It is the ability to think clearly under pressure, make good decisions when stressed, and maintain focus when everything around you is chaotic. Mental strength is emotional regulation, not emotional elimination. The strongest people in the world still experience fear. They just do not let fear stop them from taking action. They still experience doubt. They just do not let doubt paralyze them into inaction. They still experience anxiety. They just do not let anxiety dictate their decisions. Mental strength is feeling the fear and doing it anyway, feeling the doubt and moving forward anyway, feeling the anxiety and staying focused anyway. Research from the University of Pennsylvania shows that mental strength is the #1 predictor of success in any field. More than talent, more than intelligence, more than education, more than connections. People with high mental strength outperform people with higher IQs because they can persist through challenges, bounce back from failures, and maintain focus on their goals despite obstacles, setbacks, and criticism. But mental strength is not just about achievement. Mental strength is about quality of life. Mentally strong people experience less anxiety, less depression, and less stress. They have better relationships, better health, and better overall life satisfaction. They sleep better, handle conflict better, and recover from adversity faster. Mental strength is not just nice to have. It is essential for thriving in the modern world. So how do you develop unbreakable mental strength? The first component is emotional awareness. Most people are emotionally unconscious. They experience emotions, but they do not understand where those emotions come from, what purpose they serve, or how to manage them effectively. They are at the mercy of their emotional reactions, living in constant emotional reactivity. Emotional awareness means becoming conscious of your emotional patterns. When do you feel anxious and why? When do you feel angry and what triggers it? When do you feel sad or discouraged and what thoughts or situations precede those feelings? Once you understand your emotional patterns, you can begin to manage them instead of being managed by them. The second component is cognitive flexibility. This is the ability to think about your thinking. Most people believe their thoughts are facts. If they think, "I am not good enough," they believe it is true. If they think this will never work, they accept it as reality. If they think, "I always mess things up," they treat it as an unchangeable truth about themselves. But thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are just mental events that arise and pass away. You can observe your thoughts, question your thoughts, and choose which thoughts to believe and which thoughts to dismiss. Cognitive flexibility means recognizing that you are not your thoughts and that you have the power to change your thinking patterns. The third component is stress inoculation. Just like vaccines, expose your body to small amounts of toxins to build immunity. Stress inoculation exposes your mind to manageable amounts of stress to build mental resilience. This means deliberately putting yourself in challenging situations that require you to push through discomfort, uncertainty, and fear. Most people avoid stress and discomfort at all costs. They stay in their comfort zones where everything feels safe and predictable. But this mental softness makes them fragile when real challenges arise. They have no experience dealing with adversity, so when problems occur, they collapse emotionally and mentally. Mentally strong people deliberately seek out challenges. They take calculated risks. They put themselves in situations that require growth and adaptation. They understand that stress is not the enemy. Stress is the stimulus for growth. Without stress, muscles atrophy. Without mental stress, your psychological muscles atrophy too. The fourth component is failure immunity. Most people are devastated by failure because they interpret failure as evidence of their inadequacy. They take failure personally, making it mean something about their worth as a human being. This fear of failure paralyzes them, preventing them from taking the risks necessary for success. But mentally strong people have developed immunity to failure. They understand that failure is feedback, not a verdict. Failure tells you what does not work, so you can try something different. Failure is data, not drama. Every failure brings you one step closer to success, as long as you learn from it and adjust your approach. The fifth component is focus control. In a world full of distractions, the ability to control your attention is a superpower. Mentally strong people can focus intensely on what matters most while filtering out everything that does not serve their goals. They are not constantly distracted by social media notifications, text messages, or random thoughts. Focus control requires training just like physical strength. You must practice concentrating on one thing for extended periods. You must resist the urge to multitask or constantly switch between activities. You must train your mind to stay present instead of wandering into past regrets or future anxieties. Chapter 7. Breaking Free from Mental Prison. Most people are living in a mental prison that they do not even realize exists. This prison is not made of bars or walls. It is made of limiting beliefs, fear-based thinking, and unconscious patterns that keep them trapped in mediocrity. They have accepted artificial limitations as natural laws. They have mistaken their current circumstances for their ultimate destiny. The bars of this mental prison are beliefs like, I am not smart enough. I do not have enough experience. I am too old. I am too young. I do not have the right connections. I do not have enough money. These beliefs feel real because they have been reinforced over time, but they are actually just thoughts that have been repeated so often that they seem like facts. The walls of this mental prison are built from past experiences that have been generalized into future limitations. Because you failed once, you believe you will always fail. Because you were rejected once, you believe you will always be rejected. Because you struggled in the past, you believe struggle is your permanent condition. But here is what you must understand. This mental prison only exists in your mind. The limitations you believe are real are actually just thoughts you have chosen to believe. The barriers you think are permanent are actually just temporary obstacles that can be overcome with the right strategy and mindset. Breaking free from mental prison requires recognizing that you are the jailer and you hold the keys. You created these limitations through years of negative thinking, and you can dissolve them through systematic positive thinking. You built these walls through repeated limiting beliefs, and you can tear them down through empowering beliefs. The first step in breaking free is recognizing your mental prison for what it is. Most people do not even realize they are imprisoned because they have become so accustomed to their limitations. They think their current level of income, success, happiness, and achievement represents their full potential, when in reality it represents a tiny fraction of what is possible. Start by identifying the beliefs that limit you. What do you believe about what you can or cannot achieve? What do you believe about what you deserve or do not deserve? What do you believe about what is possible or impossible for someone with your background, education, experience, or circumstances? Write these beliefs down and examine them objectively. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it based on actual evidence or just assumptions? Has anyone with similar circumstances achieved what you want to achieve? What would happen if this belief were not true? What would be possible if you believed the opposite? This process of questioning will begin to weaken the mental bars that have kept you trapped. The second step is gathering contradictory evidence. Your limiting beliefs feel true because you have collected evidence that supports them while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. This is called confirmation bias, and it keeps you locked in patterns of thinking that do not serve you. For every limiting belief you hold, find evidence that contradicts it. If you believe you are too old to start a business research, successful entrepreneurs who started after age 50. If you believe you need a college degree to be successful, research millionaires who dropped out of high school. If you believe you need money to make money, research people who built wealth from nothing. This contradictory evidence will not immediately eliminate your limiting beliefs, but it will create doubt about their absolute truth. And doubt is the beginning of freedom. Once you start questioning your limitations, you open the door to possibilities you had previously dismissed as impossible. The third step is installing new, empowering beliefs. You cannot just remove limiting beliefs. You must replace them with beliefs that support your goals. Nature abhors a vacuum, and if you do not consciously choose new beliefs, your mind will default back to the old limiting patterns. Empowering beliefs sound like I have everything I need to succeed. I can learn any skill I need. I deserve success and happiness. Obstacles are opportunities in disguise. I am worthy of achieving my dreams. Failure is just feedback. Every problem has a solution. I can figure anything out. But it is not enough to just think these new beliefs. You must feel them and act on them. Use visualization to imagine yourself as someone who truly believes these empowering thoughts. Act in ways that are consistent with these beliefs, even when you do not fully believe them yet. Fake it until you make it, because action creates belief as much as belief creates action. The fourth step is expanding your reference experiences. Your current beliefs are based on your past experiences, but your past does not determine your future unless you let it. You can create new experiences that support new beliefs and prove to yourself that greater things are possible. Start small and build momentum. If you believe you are not good at public speaking, join a Toastmasters group and give short presentations. If you believe you cannot build wealth, start a small side business and prove you can generate income. If you believe you are not athletic, sign up for a fitness challenge and surprise yourself with what your body can do. Every new positive experience weakens old limiting beliefs and strengthens new empowering beliefs. You are literally reprogramming your identity through new experiences that prove your old self-concept was too small. The fifth step is surrounding yourself with people who think bigger than you do. Your environment shapes your beliefs more than you realize. If everyone around you thinks small, you will think small. If everyone around you makes excuses, you will make excuses. If everyone around you settles for mediocrity, you will settle for mediocrity. But if you surround yourself with people who think big, take risks, pursue ambitious goals, and believe in unlimited possibilities, you will start thinking and acting the same way. Find mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve. Join communities of people who are growing and achieving. Read books by people who have broken through the same limitations you face. Your mental prison is not as solid as it appears. With the right tools and consistent effort, you can break free and discover possibilities you never imagined. But freedom requires courage. It requires the courage to question everything you have believed about yourself and your potential. Are you ready to break free? Chapter 8. The Neuroplasticity Revolution. One of the most revolutionary discoveries in neuroscience is that your brain can change throughout your entire life. For decades, scientists believed that adult brains were fixed, unchangeable biological computers that could not be upgraded or reprogrammed. They thought that whatever neural pathways you developed in childhood would determine your mental capacity forever. This belief was not just wrong, it was devastatingly limiting. It made people believe that they were stuck with whatever mental patterns they had developed. If you were anxious as a child, you would be anxious forever. If you struggled with focus, you would always struggle with focus. If you had limiting beliefs about success, you could never change them. But neuroscientist Dr. Norman Doidge proved that the brain has an incredible ability called neuroplasticity. This means that your brain can literally rewire itself, create new neural pathways, and change its structure based on your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. You are not stuck with the brain you were born with or the brain you developed in childhood. You can upgrade your mental hardware throughout your entire life. This discovery is revolutionary because it means that any mental limitation you currently have can be overcome. Any negative pattern can be changed. Any skill can be learned. Any habit can be developed. Your brain is not a fixed computer. It is a dynamic, moldable organ that responds to whatever you consistently feed it. The key word here is consistently. Neuroplasticity requires repetition. Your brain changes based on what you do repeatedly, not what you do occasionally. If you consistently think negative thoughts, your brain will strengthen the neural pathways associated with negativity. If you consistently practice gratitude, your brain will strengthen the neural pathways associated with positive thinking. This explains why some people seem naturally optimistic while others seem naturally pessimistic. It is not genetics, it is neuroplasticity. Optimistic people have strengthened the neural pathways associated with positive thinking through years of practice, while pessimistic people have strengthened the neural pathways associated with negative thinking. The good news is that you can intentionally harness neuroplasticity to rewire your brain for success, confidence, focus, and mental strength. You can literally sculpt your brain like an artist sculpts clay, creating the mental patterns that will serve your goals and dissolving the patterns that hold you back. The first principle of neuroplasticity is focused attention. Your brain changes based on what you pay attention to. Whatever you focus on consistently gets stronger, while whatever you ignore gets weaker. If you constantly focus on your problems, your brain will become expert at finding problems. If you constantly focus on solutions, your brain will become expert at finding solutions. This is why successful people seem to see opportunities everywhere, while unsuccessful people only see obstacles. It is not that opportunities do not exist for unsuccessful people. It is that their brains have been wired to focus on problems instead of possibilities. They have literally trained their brains to filter out opportunities and highlight obstacles. To rewire your brain for success, you must become extremely intentional about what you focus on. Instead of watching the news, which trains your brain to focus on problems, read books about successful people, which trains your brain to focus on possibilities. Instead of gossiping about other people's failures, study other people's successes. The second principle of neuroplasticity is emotional intensity. Your brain changes faster when emotions are involved. Experiences that generate strong emotions create stronger neural pathways than experiences that are emotionally neutral. This is why you can remember exactly where you were during major emotional events but cannot remember what you had for lunch last Tuesday. You can use emotional intensity to accelerate the rewiring process. When you visualize your goals, do not just think about them. Feel the emotions of already having achieved them. When you practice new beliefs, do not just repeat words, feel the truth of those beliefs in your body. When you take action toward your dreams, do it with passion and excitement, not obligation and drudgery. The third principle of neuroplasticity is progressive challenge. Your brain adapts to whatever level of challenge you consistently expose it to. If you always choose easy, comfortable tasks, your brain will optimize for comfort and become less capable of handling challenges. If you consistently choose difficult, challenging tasks, your brain will optimize for problem solving and become more resilient. This is why mentally strong people seem to thrive under pressure, while mentally weak people crumble. It is not natural ability. It is neural adaptation. Strong people have trained their brains to handle stress, while weak people have trained their brains to avoid stress. The brain you have is the result of the challenges you have consistently faced. To build mental strength, you must progressively increase the challenges you expose your brain to. Start with small, uncomfortable situations and gradually work up to bigger challenges. Take cold showers to train your brain to handle physical discomfort. Give presentations to train your brain to handle social pressure. Start a business to train your brain to handle uncertainty and risk. The fourth principle of neuroplasticity is consistent practice. Your brain does not change based on what you do once, it changes based on what you do repeatedly over time. Most people try to change their mental patterns through willpower and motivation. But these are temporary states. Real change happens through consistent daily practice over weeks and months. This is why motivation fails, but systems succeed. Motivated people rely on feeling inspired to take action, but feelings are unreliable. Systematic people create daily practices that continue regardless of how they feel. They understand that small, consistent actions create massive long-term changes through the power of neuroplasticity. Create daily practices that reinforce the mental patterns you want to develop. If you want to develop gratitude practice, writing down 3 things you are grateful for every morning. If you want to develop confidence practice, power poses and positive self-talk every day. If you want to develop focus, practice meditation or deep work sessions every day. The 5th principle of neuroplasticity is environmental design. Your brain is constantly being shaped by your environment. If your environment is chaotic and stressful, your brain will adapt to chaos and stress. If your environment is calm and organized, your brain will adapt to peace and clarity. Most people underestimate how much their environment affects their mental state. They try to think positively while surrounding themselves with negative people. They try to focus while working in distracting environments. They try to be productive while living in cluttered spaces. To optimize neuroplasticity, you must design an environment that supports the mental patterns you want to develop. Surround yourself with books that inspire growth, not entertainment that promotes mindlessness. Spend time with people who challenge you to be better, not people who enable you to stay the same. Create physical spaces that promote focus, not distraction. Chapter 9. The mental immune system. Just as your body has an immune system that protects against viruses, bacteria, and toxins, your mind needs an immune system that protects against mental viruses, limiting beliefs, and psychological toxins. Without a strong mental immune system, you will constantly be reinfected with the same mental pollution you worked so hard to eliminate. Most people do not realize they need mental immunity because they do not understand how vulnerable their minds are to external influence. They think they are thinking their own thoughts, but in reality their thoughts are being shaped by media manipulation, social pressure, advertising algorithms, and cultural programming designed to make them consume, comply, and conform. Your mental immune system is built through practices that strengthen your psychological resistance to negative influences. Just like physical immunity is built through exposure to small amounts of pathogens, mental immunity is built through exposure to manageable amounts of mental challenges that force your mind to develop stronger defenses. The first component of mental immunity is critical thinking. Most people are mental sponges that absorb whatever information they encounter without questioning its accuracy, relevance, or motivation. They believe everything they read, hear, or see without considering whether the source has an agenda or whether the information serves their best interests. Critical thinking means questioning everything. Who is providing this information and why? What do they gain if I believe this? Is this information helping me or manipulating me? Is this fact or opinion? Is this based on evidence or emotion? Is this empowering me or limiting me? Critical thinking is your first line of defense against mental manipulation. Develop the habit of asking questions before accepting any information as true. When someone tells you something cannot be done, ask why and who says so. When media tells you to be afraid, ask who benefits from your fear. When society tells you to conform, ask whether conformity serves your goals or theirs. The second component of mental immunity is emotional regulation. People with weak mental immune systems are easily manipulated through their emotions. Advertisers use fear to sell security products. Politicians use anger to gain support. Media uses outrage to get attention. Social media uses envy to sell lifestyle products. Emotional regulation means recognizing when your emotions are being triggered and choosing your response instead of reacting automatically. It means feeling emotions without being controlled by them. It means making decisions based on logic and values rather than temporary emotional states. Practice observing your emotions without immediately acting on them. When you feel angry, ask yourself why and whether that anger is serving you. When you feel afraid, ask yourself whether the fear is protecting you or limiting you. When you feel envious, ask yourself whether comparison is helping you or hurting you. The third component of mental immunity is value clarity. People without clear values are easily influenced by whatever values are promoted by their environment. They adopt the values of their peer group, their culture, or whatever values are trending on social media without considering whether those values actually serve their goals and well-being. Clear values act like a filter for your mind. Information and influences that align with your values are accepted, while information and influences that contradict your values are rejected. Values provide a stable foundation that cannot be shaken by external pressure or manipulation. Identify your core values and write them down. What matters most to you in life? What principles will you never compromise? What kind of person do you want to be, regardless of what others think? Use these values as a decision-making framework for everything from career choices to daily habits. The fourth component of mental immunity is information hygiene. Just like you practice physical hygiene to prevent disease, you must practice information hygiene to prevent mental contamination. This means being extremely selective about what information you consume and how much you consume. Most people have terrible information hygiene. They consume mental junk food all day through social media, news, entertainment, and gossip. They fill their minds with negative, irrelevant, or manipulative content, and then wonder why they feel anxious, depressed, or confused. Practice information fasting by going days or weeks without consuming any news, social media, or entertainment. Notice how your mental state changes when you eliminate information pollution. Then gradually reintroduce only high-quality information that educates, inspires, or helps you achieve your goals. The fifth component of mental immunity is social boundaries. The people you spend time with have enormous influence on your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. If you surround yourself with negative people, you will become negative. If you surround yourself with successful people, you will become successful. If you surround yourself with growth-oriented people, you will become growth-oriented. Most people have weak social boundaries. They spend time with anyone who wants their attention, regardless of whether those relationships serve their growth and happiness. They allow energy vampires to drain their mental resources. They tolerate toxic people because they fear confrontation or loneliness. Strong mental immunity requires strong social boundaries. This means spending time with people who inspire, challenge, and support you, while limiting time with people who drain, discourage, or distract you. It means saying no to social obligations that do not serve your goals. It means choosing quality relationships over quantity relationships. The sixth component of mental immunity is purpose clarity. People without clear purpose are vulnerable to manipulation because they have no strong reason to resist external influences. They can be easily swayed by whatever direction others want to take them because they have no clear direction of their own. Purpose acts like a North Star for your mind. When you know exactly what you are trying to achieve and why, decisions become easier. Influences that support your purpose are welcomed, while influences that distract from your purpose are rejected. Purpose provides meaning that makes you immune to meaningless distractions. Identify your life purpose by asking yourself what impact you want to have on the world. What legacy do you want to leave? What would you regret not doing if you died tomorrow? What cause or mission would you pursue even if you were not paid for it? Let this purpose guide every decision and filter every influence. Chapter 10. The Mental Transformation Timeline. Understanding the timeline of mental transformation is crucial for maintaining motivation and avoiding frustration during your mental detox journey. Most people expect immediate results and quit when they do not see instant changes. But mental transformation follows a predictable pattern that you must understand to succeed. The brain is designed to resist change because change requires energy, and the brain is always trying to conserve energy. Your current mental patterns exist because they have been repeated thousands of times, creating deep neural pathways that operate automatically. Changing these patterns requires time, persistence, and patience. Days 1 through 7 are the resistance phase. During this phase, your brain will fight the changes you are trying to make. You will experience mental discomfort as your old patterns try to reassert themselves. You will have urges to check social media thoughts, telling you this process is not working, and emotions that try to pull you back to your old ways of thinking. This resistance is normal and expected. It does not mean you are doing something wrong, it means you are doing something right. Your brain is simply trying to maintain the status quo because change feels dangerous to the primitive survival system. Do not interpret this resistance as evidence that transformation is impossible. During the resistance phase, focus on compliance, not perfection. Your only goal is to follow the detox protocol regardless of how you feel. Do not expect to feel better yet. Do not expect to think more clearly yet. Just focus on eliminating mental toxins and replacing them with mental nutrients. Trust the process, even when you cannot see immediate results. Days 8 through 21 are the adaptation phase. During this phase, your brain begins to adapt to the new patterns you are establishing. You will start to notice small improvements in your mood, energy, focus, and overall mental state. The urges to return to old patterns will become weaker, while the new patterns will start to feel more natural. This is when many people make the mistake of thinking they are cured and can return to their old habits. They feel better, so they start consuming social media again. They think more clearly, so they stop practicing mental hygiene. They have more energy, so they assume the transformation is complete. This is a critical mistake that will cause them to relapse back to their old mental state. During the adaptation phase, maintain strict adherence to your new mental habits. This is when the real neural rewiring is happening, and consistency is crucial. Do not let temporary improvements convince you that you can relax your discipline. Think of this phase like physical rehabilitation after an injury. Just because you feel better does not mean you are fully healed. Days 22 through 90 are the integration phase. During this phase, the new mental patterns begin to feel automatic and natural. You will notice significant improvements in your ability to focus, handle stress, think clearly, and maintain positive emotions. The old toxic patterns will feel foreign and unappealing. But integration does not mean you can abandon the practices that created the transformation. Your new mental patterns are still fragile and require ongoing maintenance. Think of mental hygiene like physical hygiene. Just because you brushed your teeth yesterday does not mean you can skip brushing them today. During the integration phase, establish permanent daily practices that will maintain your mental health long-term. This includes morning meditation or mindfulness, evening reflection, gratitude practice, information, fasting, and regular mental challenges that keep your mind strong and resilient. Days 91 through 365 are the mastery phase. During this phase, mental strength and clarity become your new normal. You will have developed strong mental immunity that protects against recontamination. You will naturally think more clearly, focus more intensely, and respond to challenges with greater resilience. The mastery phase is when you begin to see the compound effects of mental transformation. Your improved mental state leads to better decisions, which lead to better results, which lead to more confidence, which leads to even better decisions. You enter an upward spiral of continuous improvement and growth. But mastery is not a destination, it is a practice. The most successful people in the world never stop working on their mental state because they understand that mental strength requires constant maintenance and improvement. They view mental training the same way athletes view physical training, as an ongoing discipline, not a one-time event. Throughout this timeline, you will face setbacks, moments of doubt, and temporary relapses into old patterns. This is normal and does not mean you have failed. Mental transformation is not a linear process. It is a wave-like process with ups and downs, progress and setbacks, advancement and temporary retreat. The key is to view setbacks as feedback, not failure. Each setback teaches you something about your mental patterns and provides an opportunity to strengthen your mental immune system. People who achieve lasting transformation are not people who never face challenges. They are people who learn from challenges and become stronger because of them. Monitor your progress by keeping a daily mental state journal. Rate your focus, energy, mood, and mental clarity on a scale of 1 to 10 each day. Notice patterns and trends over time rather than focusing on daily fluctuations. This will help you see the long-term improvements, even when individual days feel difficult. Remember that mental transformation is the most important work you will ever do, because everything else in your life depends on the quality of your thinking. Your relationships, career, health, happiness, and success are all determined by your mental state. Investing in mental transformation is investing in every area of your life simultaneously. The timeline may seem long, but consider how many years you spent developing toxic mental patterns. It is unrealistic to expect decades of mental conditioning to change in a few days or weeks. Be patient with the process. Trust in the science of neuroplasticity and commit to the daily practices that will create lasting transformation. Chapter 11. Advanced mental training techniques. Now that you understand the fundamentals of mental detoxification, it is time to explore advanced techniques that will take your mental performance to elite levels. These are not beginner practices. These are the sophisticated mental training methods used by world-class performers, Olympic athletes, Navy SEALs, and billionaire entrepreneurs to achieve extraordinary results under extreme pressure. The first advanced technique is mental rehearsal visualization. Most people think visualization is just daydreaming or wishful thinking, but true mental rehearsal is a precise, systematic practice that literally rewires your brain for peak performance. When you visualize an action, your brain fires the same neural patterns as when you actually perform that action. This is why Olympic athletes spend hours mentally rehearsing their routines before competition. But there is a right way and a wrong way to practice mental rehearsal. Wrong visualization is vague, fuzzy, and lacks emotional intensity. You picture yourself being successful but without specific details, sensory information, or strong emotions. This type of visualization has minimal impact on your neural pathways and produces weak results. Correct mental rehearsal is vivid, detailed, and emotionally intense. You see yourself performing specific actions in specific environments with specific people. You hear the sounds, feel the physical sensations, taste the air, and experience the emotions of success. You rehearse not just the outcome, but the entire process, including how you will handle obstacles, setbacks, and unexpected challenges. For example, if you want to give a powerful presentation, do not just visualize applause at the end. Visualize walking into the room feeling confident despite nervous energy. See the faces of the audience members hear your voice. Projecting clearly, feel your body language, expressing authority. Rehearse handling tough questions, recovering from mistakes, and maintaining composure under pressure. Practice mental rehearsal for 15 minutes every morning and evening. Choose one specific goal or challenge you are working on and mentally rehearse yourself performing at your absolute best. Make the visualization so detailed and emotionally intense that your brain cannot tell the difference between the mental rehearsal and actual experience. The second advanced technique is cognitive reframing. This is the ability to take any situation, no matter how negative or challenging, and find empowering interpretations that serve your goals. Most people are victims of their interpretations. They let circumstances dictate their emotional state and mental performance. But elite performers control their interpretations and therefore control their emotional responses. Cognitive reframing is not positive thinking or denial of reality. It is the practice of choosing interpretations that empower you rather than limit you. When faced with a setback, most people interpret it as evidence that they are failures or that their goals are impossible. But elite performers interpret setbacks as feedback, valuable data that brings them closer to success. Here is how cognitive reframing works in practice. Instead of thinking this rejection proves I am not good enough, think this rejection proves I am getting closer to finding the right opportunity. Instead of thinking this failure shows I should quit, think this failure shows exactly what I need to improve. Instead of thinking this criticism means I am terrible, think this criticism gives me specific information about how to get better. The key is to always ask yourself, what empowering meaning can I give to this situation? How can I interpret this in a way that makes me stronger, more motivated, and more focused on my goals? There is always an empowering interpretation if you are willing to look for it. The third advanced technique is stress inoculation training. Most people try to avoid stress because they think stress is harmful. But controlled exposure to stress actually makes you mentally stronger, more resilient, and better able to perform under pressure. This is the principle behind stress inoculation training used by military special forces and emergency responders. Stress inoculation means deliberately exposing yourself to manageable amounts of physical, mental, and emotional stress to build your tolerance and improve your performance. This could mean taking cold showers to build physical stress tolerance, doing public speaking to build social stress tolerance, or setting challenging deadlines to build performance stress tolerance. The key is to gradually increase the intensity of stress exposure over time. Start with challenges that create moderate discomfort and progressively work up to more intense challenges. Each successful experience of handling stress builds confidence and neural pathways that make you stronger for the next challenge. But stress inoculation must be combined with recovery and adaptation. Just like physical training requires rest days, mental training requires periods of recovery where you process the stress and allow your mental muscles to strengthen. Without adequate recovery, stress becomes destructive rather than constructive. The fourth advanced technique is attention training through meditation. Most people think meditation is about relaxation or spiritual enlightenment. But for elite performers, meditation is attention training. It is the practice of strengthening your ability to focus on what matters while filtering out distractions. In a world full of attention hijackers, this skill is invaluable. There are many forms of meditation, but concentration meditation is most effective for building mental strength. This involves focusing your attention on a single object, like your breath, a mantra, or a visual image, and returning your attention to that object every time your mind wanders. Start with 5-minute sessions focusing on your breath. Count each exhale from 1 to 10. Then start over at 1. Every time your mind wanders, which it will, simply notice the distraction and gently return your attention to counting. Do not judge yourself for mind wandering. Just practice the skill of redirecting attention. Gradually increase the duration to 20 or 30 minutes per day. The goal is not to stop thinking. The goal is to strengthen your ability to choose where you direct your attention. This skill transfers to every area of life, giving you greater focus during work, conversations, and challenging situations. The fifth advanced technique is emotional state management. Elite performers understand that emotions are not things that happen to them. Emotions are states they can control and direct. They do not wait to feel motivated. They create motivation. They do not hope to feel confident. They generate confidence. They take active control of their emotional states. Emotional state management involves 3 components: physiology, focus, and language. Your emotional state is determined by how you use your body, what you focus on, and how you talk to yourself. Change any of these 3 elements, and you change your emotional state. Physiology means using your body to create the emotions you want. Stand tall with your shoulders back and chest open to create confidence. Move with energy and purpose to create motivation. Breathe deeply and slowly to create calm. Take a cold shower to create alertness. Exercise intensely to create positive emotions through endorphin release. Focus means directing your attention to thoughts and images that create empowering emotions. Focus on your goals to create motivation. Focus on your past successes to create confidence. Focus on what you are grateful for to create joy. Focus on how you can serve others to create purpose. Language means using self-talk that supports the emotional state you want to create. Instead of saying, "I have to," say, "I get to." Instead of saying, "This is hard," say, "This is challenging, and I love challenges." Instead of saying, "I hope this works," say, "I know this will work because I will make it work." Chapter 12. Building unbreakable focus. In the modern world, the ability to focus deeply is becoming a rare and valuable skill. Most people have trained their brains for distraction through constant multitasking, social media consumption, and information overload. They have weakened their focus muscles to the point where they cannot concentrate on a single task for more than a few minutes without feeling restless, anxious, or bored. But focus is not just nice to have. Focus is the foundation of all achievement. Every breakthrough, every masterpiece, every world-changing innovation was created through periods of deep focused attention. Without the ability to focus, you cannot think deeply, learn effectively, or produce high-quality work. Focus is the gateway to flow states, peak performance, and extraordinary results. The neuroscientist Dr. Cal Newport discovered that the ability to focus without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks is becoming increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. People who can focus deeply will have enormous advantages in knowledge work, while people who cannot focus will be relegated to shallow, busy work that produces minimal value. Building unbreakable focus requires understanding the difference between focused attention and scattered attention. Focused attention is when you direct your mental energy toward a single task or goal with full intensity. Scattered attention is when your mental energy is divided between multiple tasks, thoughts, or stimuli, reducing your effectiveness on all of them. Most people spend their entire days in scattered attention mode. They check email while working on projects. They listen to podcasts while exercising. They scroll social media while watching television. They think they are being productive, but they are actually training their brains for distraction and weakening their ability to focus deeply. The first principle of building unbreakable focus is monotasking. This means doing one thing at a time with full attention. When you work on a project, close all other applications and put away all distractions. When you have a conversation, put away your phone and give the person your complete attention. When you exercise, focus only on your workout, not on entertainment or mental distractions. Monotasking feels uncomfortable at first because your brain has been conditioned to expect constant stimulation. You will have urges to check your phone, look at notifications, or switch to other tasks. These urges are withdrawal symptoms from attention, addiction, and they will decrease over time as your focus muscles strengthen. The second principle is deep work sessions. Deep work is professional activity performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that pushes your cognitive capabilities to their limit. This is where breakthrough thinking happens, where complex problems get solved, and where high-value work gets produced. Schedule specific blocks of time for deep work and protect these blocks ruthlessly. Start with 90-minute sessions and gradually work up to 3 or 4-hour sessions. During deep work sessions, eliminate all distractions, including phone notifications, email alerts, and social media access. Work in a quiet environment with minimal visual clutter. Choose your most important cognitive task for each deep work session. This should be work that requires thinking, problem-solving, creativity, or skill development. Do not waste deep work time on administrative tasks, email, or busy work that could be done during shallow work periods. The third principle is attention restoration. Your focus muscles get tired just like your physical muscles, and they need periods of rest and recovery to maintain peak performance. But not all rest is equal for attention restoration. Scrolling social media, watching television, or consuming entertainment does not restore your attention, it depletes it further. True attention restoration comes from activities that engage your mind in a different way from focused work. This includes walking in nature, having meaningful conversations with friends, engaging in physical exercise, or practicing meditation. These activities give your focused attention system a chance to recover while strengthening other mental capacities. The fourth principle is progressive focus training. Like any skill, focus improves through deliberate practice. You must gradually increase the intensity and duration of your focus sessions over time. If you can currently focus for 20 minutes without distraction, aim for 30 minutes next week and 40 minutes the week after. Use meditation as focus training. Start with 5-minute concentration meditation sessions where you focus on your breath and return your attention whenever it wanders. Gradually increase to 15 or 20-minute sessions. This trains the fundamental skill of directing and sustaining attention that transfers to all other mental tasks. Read books without distractions. Choose challenging books that require sustained attention. And read for progressively longer periods without checking your phone, looking up information, or taking breaks. This trains your ability to maintain focus on cognitively demanding material. The fifth principle is environmental design for focus. Your environment either supports focus or undermines it. Most people try to focus in environments designed for distraction, then wonder why they struggle with concentration. Your physical environment, mental environment, and social environment all affect your ability to focus. Design your physical environment to minimize distractions and maximize focus. Work in a clean, organized space with minimal visual clutter. Remove or hide anything that might pull your attention away from your work. Use noise-canceling headphones or work in quiet spaces. Have everything you need for your work easily accessible so you do not need to break focus to find tools or materials. Design your mental environment by preparing your mind before focus sessions. Review your goals and priorities to remind yourself why this work matters. Clear your mind of unrelated thoughts by writing them down in a capture system. Set a specific intention for what you want to accomplish during the focus session. Design your social environment by communicating your focus boundaries to others. Let family members, co-workers, and friends know when you are in deep work mode and should not be interrupted except for emergencies. Train people to respect your focus time just like they would respect your sleep time. The sixth principle is focus recovery techniques. Even with perfect environmental design and strong focus muscles, you will have moments when your attention wavers or becomes scattered. Instead of giving up and switching to distracted work, use specific techniques to quickly restore your focus. The reset breath technique involves taking 3 deep breaths while consciously releasing mental tension and setting a fresh intention to focus. This creates a clean break between distracted thinking and focused thinking. Use this technique whenever you notice your mind wandering or your attention scattering. The micro-meditation technique involves closing your eyes for 60 seconds and focusing only on your breath. This gives your attention system a brief reset and often restores focus more effectively than taking a longer break that involves additional stimulation. The priority reminder technique involves reading your most important goal or priority statement to reconnect with your motivation for focusing. When you remember why this work matters, your brain automatically increases its focus intensity. Chapter 13. The Elite Mind. There is a distinct difference between average minds and elite minds. It is not intelligence, education, or talent that separates them. Elite minds have developed specific patterns of thinking that allow them to see opportunities where others see obstacles, find solutions, where others see problems, and create success, where others create excuses. The first characteristic of elite minds is systems thinking. Average people think in terms of individual events, causes, and effects. Elite people think in terms of systems, patterns, and feedback loops. They understand that everything is connected and that small changes in one area can create massive changes in other areas. When average people face a problem, they look for the immediate, obvious cause and try to fix it directly. When elite people face a problem, they step back and examine the entire system to identify the root causes, leverage points, and unintended consequences. They solve problems at the system level rather than the symptom level. For example, when an average person struggles with motivation, they try to find motivational videos or inspirational content. When an elite person struggles with motivation, they examine their entire life system to identify what is draining their energy, undermining their confidence, or conflicting with their values. They fix the system rather than treating the symptom. Systems thinking allows elite minds to see patterns that are invisible to others. They notice how market trends, political changes, social movements, and technological developments are interconnected. This pattern recognition gives them the ability to predict future developments and position themselves advantageously before others realize what is happening. The second characteristic of elite minds is probabilistic thinking. Average people think in terms of certainties. They want to know exactly what will happen and exactly what to do. When faced with uncertainty, they become paralyzed or make decisions based on hope rather than analysis. Elite people think in terms of probabilities and expected outcomes. Elite minds understand that nothing is certain, but some outcomes are more likely than others. They make decisions by analyzing the probability of different scenarios, the potential impact of each scenario, and the cost of being wrong. They take calculated risks rather than avoiding risk completely or taking reckless risks. This probabilistic thinking allows elite minds to make better decisions with incomplete information. They do not wait for perfect information because they understand that perfect information is rarely available. Instead, they make the best decision possible with available information and adjust as new information becomes available. The third characteristic of elite minds is inversion thinking. Most people approach problems by thinking forward about what they want to achieve. Elite people often think backward from what they want to avoid. They ask what could go wrong, what would cause failure, and what mistakes should be prevented. Inversion thinking helps elite minds avoid common pitfalls and blind spots. By thinking about what they do not want, they often discover insights that forward thinking misses. They identify potential problems before they occur and design systems to prevent those problems. For example, when starting a business, most people focus on what will make them successful. Elite entrepreneurs also focus on what will make them fail. They ask what kills most businesses and then design their business to avoid those failure modes. This inversion thinking dramatically increases their probability of success. The fourth characteristic of elite minds is first principles thinking. Average people think by analogy and convention. They do what others have done or what seems normal in their industry or situation. Elite people break problems down to fundamental principles and build up solutions from scratch. First principles thinking involves questioning every assumption, examining every belief, and rebuilding conclusions from basic truths. This often leads to breakthrough insights and innovative solutions that would be impossible through conventional thinking. When Elon Musk wanted to reduce the cost of space travel, he did not accept the conventional wisdom that rockets must be expensive. He broke down the problem to first principles, examining the actual cost of materials and engineering required for rocket construction. This led to the insight that reusable rockets could dramatically reduce costs, an idea that revolutionized the space industry. The fifth characteristic of elite minds is long-term thinking. Average people optimize for short-term outcomes. They want immediate gratification, quick results, and instant solutions. Elite people optimize for long-term outcomes, even when it requires short-term sacrifice, discomfort, or delayed gratification. Long-term thinking allows elite minds to make decisions that compound over time. They understand that small, consistent actions create massive results through compound interest, compound learning, and compound relationships. They plant seeds today that will grow into trees decades later. This long-term orientation also gives elite minds patience and persistence when working toward ambitious goals. They do not expect overnight success, and they do not quit when results do not come quickly. They understand that meaningful achievement takes time, and they are willing to invest that time. The sixth characteristic of elite minds is contrarian thinking. Average people follow the crowd and go with consensus opinion. Elite people think independently and are willing to disagree with popular opinion when their analysis leads to different conclusions. Contrarian thinking does not mean being contrary for the sake of being different. It means thinking independently, examining evidence objectively, and reaching conclusions based on logic rather than social pressure. Elite minds are willing to be wrong, but they are not willing to be intellectually lazy. This contrarian thinking often leads elite minds to see opportunities that others miss. When everyone is selling, they might be buying. When everyone is pessimistic, they might be optimistic. When everyone is following one path, they might be exploring a different path. The seventh characteristic of elite minds is learning orientation. Average people believe they know enough or that their education is complete. Elite people believe they know almost nothing and that learning is a lifelong process. They are constantly seeking new information, new perspectives, and new skills. Elite minds understand that the world is changing rapidly and that what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. They stay intellectually humble and curious, always asking questions, challenging their assumptions, and updating their beliefs based on new evidence. This learning orientation allows elite minds to adapt quickly to changing circumstances. While others are stuck in old patterns, elite minds are developing new patterns that better fit current realities. They see change as opportunity rather than threat. Chapter 14. Mental Mastery Maintenance. Achieving mental clarity and strength is just the beginning. The real challenge is maintaining that clarity and strength over time. Most people make the mistake of thinking that once they have detoxed their mind, they can return to their old habits and maintain their new mental state. This is like thinking you can get physically fit and then stop exercising while maintaining your fitness. Mental mastery requires ongoing maintenance, just like physical fitness requires ongoing exercise. Your mind is constantly being influenced by your environment, your relationships, your information consumption, and your daily habits. Without conscious maintenance, these influences will gradually erode your mental clarity and pull you back toward old patterns. The first principle of mental mastery maintenance is daily mental hygiene. Just as you brush your teeth every day to maintain dental health, you must practice mental hygiene every day to maintain mental health. This includes meditation, mindfulness, reflection, and conscious thought monitoring. Start each day with a mental hygiene routine that sets your mind in the right state. This could include 10 minutes of meditation, 5 minutes of gratitude practice, and setting clear intentions for the day. This morning routine creates a foundation of mental clarity that will serve you throughout the day. End each day with a mental review that processes the day's experiences and prepares your mind for rest. Reflect on what went well, what you learned, and what you want to improve tomorrow. This evening routine helps you learn from each day and maintain forward momentum. The second principle is environmental maintenance. Your mental state is constantly being influenced by your physical environment, your information environment, and your social environment. You must actively maintain these environments to support your mental clarity and prevent recontamination. Regularly audit your physical environment and remove anything that creates stress, distraction, or negative emotions. Keep your living space and workspace clean, organized, and conducive to clear thinking. Surround yourself with objects, books, and images that inspire you and remind you of your goals. Regularly audit your information environment and eliminate sources of mental pollution. Unsubscribe from negative news sources, social media accounts that make you feel bad, and email lists that clutter your inbox with irrelevant information. Be ruthless about protecting your mental space from information that does not serve your goals. Regularly audit your social environment and limit time with people who drain your energy or fill your mind with negativity. This does not mean being antisocial. It means being selective about who gets access to your mental space. Prioritize relationships with people who inspire, challenge, and support your growth. The third principle is progressive challenge. Your mental muscles need progressive overload, just like your physical muscles. If you always stay within your comfort zone, your mental strength will plateau and eventually decline. You must regularly challenge yourself with new difficulties that force your mind to grow stronger. Set monthly mental challenges that push you beyond your current limits. This could include learning a new skill, taking on a difficult project, giving a presentation, or having a difficult conversation. These challenges should feel uncomfortable but not overwhelming. Keep a record of the challenges you have overcome and the mental strength you have built through those experiences. This record will remind you of your capabilities during moments of doubt and motivate you to continue seeking growth through challenge. The fourth principle is recovery and regeneration. Mental training, like physical training, requires periods of recovery where your mind can rest, restore, and consolidate new patterns. Without adequate recovery, your mental performance will decline, and you will become more vulnerable to stress and negative influences. Build regular periods of mental rest into your schedule. This includes sufficient sleep time in nature, away from technology and devices and activities that restore your mental energy rather than drain it. Do not feel guilty about taking mental breaks. They are essential for maintaining peak performance. Learn to recognize the early signs of mental fatigue and respond by increasing your recovery practices rather than pushing harder. Mental fatigue manifests as decreased focus, increased irritability, poor decision-making, and negative thinking. When you notice these signs, prioritize rest over productivity. The fifth principle is continuous learning and adaptation. The world is constantly changing, and your mental models must evolve to remain effective. What worked in the past might not work in the future, and you must be willing to update your thinking based on new information and changing circumstances. Read books that challenge your current thinking and expose you to new perspectives. Seek out people who have different viewpoints and learn from their experiences. Travel to new places that expose you to different cultures and ways of thinking. Take courses that teach you new skills and expand your mental capabilities. Be willing to change your mind when presented with compelling evidence. Intellectual humility, the willingness to admit when you are wrong, is a sign of mental strength, not weakness. Elite minds are constantly updating their beliefs based on new evidence, while weak minds cling to old beliefs despite contrary evidence. The sixth principle is teaching and mentoring others. One of the best ways to maintain your own mental mastery is to teach others what you have learned. Teaching forces you to organize your knowledge, clearly identify the key principles, and continuously refine your understanding. Find opportunities to share your knowledge through writing, speaking, coaching, or mentoring. This could be as simple as helping a friend or family member, or as formal as creating content or leading workshops. The act of teaching will deepen your own understanding and help you maintain the practices that created your mental transformation. Remember that mental mastery is not a destination, it is a journey. There is no point where you can declare yourself mentally perfect and stop working on your mind. The most successful people in the world never stop learning, growing, and refining their mental capabilities. They understand that mental mastery is a lifelong practice that requires daily commitment and continuous effort. Chapter 15. Living with a detoxed mind. After completing the mental detox process and establishing maintenance practices, you will experience a dramatically different quality of life. Living with a detoxed mind means thinking clearly, focusing deeply, and responding to challenges with calm confidence instead of anxious reactivity. It means making decisions based on logic and values rather than emotions and impulses. The first benefit of a detoxed mind is crystal clear thinking. Mental pollution clouds your judgment, makes you confused, and leads to poor decision-making. When your mind is clean, you can see situations accurately, analyze problems objectively, and generate creative solutions easily. Complex decisions that once felt overwhelming now feel manageable because your thinking process is clear and systematic. You will notice that you no longer get caught up in mental loops of worry, doubt, and overthinking. Your mind becomes like a calm lake that reflects reality accurately, rather than a stormy ocean that distorts everything. This mental clarity allows you to see opportunities that were always there, but were hidden by mental fog. The second benefit is unshakable confidence. Mental pollution erodes your confidence through negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, and constant comparison to others. When your mind is detoxed, these confidence killers lose their power over you. You develop quiet, inner confidence based on self-knowledge, self-acceptance, and faith in your ability to handle whatever challenges arise. This confidence is not arrogance or delusion. It is realistic confidence based on understanding your strengths, developing your capabilities, and proving to yourself that you can overcome obstacles. You stop seeking validation from others because you have developed internal validation based on your own standards and values. The third benefit is emotional mastery. Mental pollution makes you emotionally reactive. External events trigger automatic emotional responses that control your behavior and decision-making. With a detoxed mind, you develop emotional regulation. You feel emotions fully, but you are not controlled by them. You become the observer of your emotions rather than being lost in them. When anger arises, you notice it, feel it, and choose how to respond rather than reacting automatically. When fear appears, you acknowledge it, examine whether it is protecting you or limiting you, and make decisions based on wisdom rather than emotional impulse. The fourth benefit is laser focus. Mental pollution scatters your attention, making it difficult to concentrate on important tasks. Constant mental chatter distracts you from the present moment and prevents you from entering flow states where peak performance happens. A detoxed mind can focus with laser intensity on whatever task requires attention. You will find that you can work for hours without distraction, think deeply about complex problems, and maintain concentration even in challenging environments. This focused attention allows you to produce higher quality work in less time and experience the satisfaction that comes from deep engagement with meaningful activities. The fifth benefit is authentic relationships. Mental pollution fills your mind with insecurity, jealousy, and social anxiety that sabotage your relationships. You constantly worry about what others think, try to impress people who do not matter, and struggle with social confidence. A detoxed mind allows you to connect authentically with others. You stop playing social games, stop trying to be someone you are not, and start showing up as your authentic self. This authenticity attracts genuine relationships while repelling superficial connections. You develop the confidence to be vulnerable, honest, and real with people, which creates deeper, more meaningful relationships. The sixth benefit is purposeful action. Mental pollution creates confusion about what you want and why you want it. You get caught up in other people's goals, social expectations, and cultural programming that pulls you away from your authentic desires. A detoxed mind provides clarity about your values, priorities, and life purpose. You stop wasting time on activities that do not align with your values and goals. Every action becomes intentional, every decision serves a purpose, and every day moves you closer to the life you actually want. This purposeful living creates deep satisfaction and prevents the regret that comes from living someone else's life. The seventh benefit is resilient optimism. Mental pollution makes you pessimistic, cynical, and expecting the worst in every situation. This negative mental filter prevents you from seeing possibilities, taking advantage of opportunities, and maintaining hope during difficult times. A detoxed mind develops resilient optimism. This optimism is not naive positive thinking that ignores reality. It is grounded optimism that acknowledges challenges while maintaining faith in your ability to overcome them. You approach problems with solution-focused thinking, expect good things to happen, and maintain positive energy even during temporary setbacks. The eighth benefit is creative problem-solving. Mental pollution limits your creativity by filling your mind with conventional thinking, limiting beliefs, and fear of failure. You approach problems the same way everyone else does and get the same mediocre results. A detoxed mind unleashes creative potential that was always there but was blocked by mental toxins. You start seeing problems as puzzles to be solved rather than obstacles to be feared. You generate multiple solutions to every challenge, think outside conventional boundaries, and find innovative approaches that others miss. This creativity becomes a competitive advantage in every area of life. The ninth benefit is peace of mind. Mental pollution creates constant mental agitation, worry, stress, and inner turmoil. Your mind feels like a battlefield where negative thoughts compete for attention and create emotional chaos. A detoxed mind experiences genuine peace, the absence of mental conflict and constant mental chatter. This peace is not emptiness or lack of thinking. It is calm alertness, where your mind is quiet but ready to engage when needed. You experience mental stillness that allows you to enjoy the present moment without being pulled into past regrets or future anxieties. This inner peace becomes your natural state rather than something you must work to achieve. Living with a detoxed mind means living at a higher level of consciousness, awareness, and intentionality. You become the conscious director of your mental life, rather than being unconsciously controlled by random thoughts, emotions, and external influences. You create your inner reality rather than being a victim of circumstances. This transformation affects every area of your life because everything you do flows from your mental state. Your career, relationships, health, happiness, and success all improve when your mind is operating clearly and powerfully. Mental detox is not just about feeling better, it is about becoming the person you were always meant to be. But remember that maintaining this detox state requires ongoing commitment. The modern world will constantly try to repollute your mind with negativity, distraction, and mental junk food. You must remain vigilant about what you allow into your mental space and continue practicing the habits that keep your mind clean, strong, and focused. The choice is yours. You can live with a polluted mind, accepting mental weakness, confusion, and emotional reactivity as normal. Or you can commit to mental detox and experience the clarity, confidence, and peace that come from a clean, powerful mind. What will you choose?